What's up everyone, welcome back. Got another review for you. A jig from Japan, really unique. It's the Zappu PD chopper, dead slow. I'll tell you about this, kind of a crazy jig. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. This channel is all about the latest and greatest, and I really like JDM tackle. I did an unboxing video a couple months ago and I included a lot of stuff from Optimum Baits, and if you don't know, they import companies like Zappu, Depths, Ima, and then they have their own stuff with Optimum Baits. So there's even more, but they're really responsible for bringing a lot of that tackle from Japan here. So I got these jigs, and they're a swim jig. It's called the Dead Slow PD Chopper. So I got these jigs back then, and I really didn't have a good time to use them. But one of the lakes I fished, Lake Travis, came up 7 feet the other day. So there's a lot of shallow flooded cover. Went out there, caught some fish, and a swim jig was perfect. Now the thing that's cool about this swim jig, it's called the Dead Slow. So even though it's a big giant head, it doesn't look like a standard swim jig head because it's not pointed, and it's also made out of a kind of weird material. I don't know what it is, but it's not lead, it's not tungsten, so it's a big head that only weighs 1/4 or 5/16 ounce, which is kind of crazy. So the whole purpose of this is to get that bait to rock and roll with that crazy looking head, but also not sink very fast. So you could fish higher up in the water column, and you could really get your swim bait to move a bunch. I was using a standard Kitech here. This is what I was catching fish on. This is a 3/8. I just cut it back a little bit, but you can use any swim jig you like. This is actually a Big Bite Baits Suicide Shad. I was just trying a bunch of different ones. And it really gets the bait to rock and roll more than a regular swim jig. When you're used to throwing a swim jig around, it's usually pretty easy to cast. This thing is kind of deceptively light. It's 1/4 ounce or 5/16, so you kind of have to get over that initial feeling when you start making that cast, because it feels like it's not going anywhere. So loosen up your reel a little bit, cast a little bit harder, but once you get the hang of it, it's just like skipping around any other jig. But that was kind of interesting when I did it, because you see this big jig and you think it's going to cast really far, but it's not going to cast as far. Obviously a heavier plastic is going to help with that, but it does have a lot different feeling than your regular swim jig. Now you may say, why not just use a regular finesse swim jig? I mean, there's a lot of really good ones out there. Dirty Jigs makes a great finesse one, but the thing about this is it's a bigger profile, and again, you get that rocking, rolling action all the way through your bait. So it's a really cool design. Different. You could fish it higher up in the water column, shallower water, without that bait just crashing to the bottom. I fished it and immediately caught a Guadalupe bass. Now, if you know anything about them, they're really aggressive. Really, they'll eat just about anything, especially the small ones. So I was didn't know if it was the bait or, the area or what it was, but I caught one. But then I ended up catching some largemouth, fishing again around that flooded cover, but also around docks. So it's really a unique jig. I really liked fishing it. They're not cheap. They're about 10 bucks each, but they do hold up really well. They got good hooks on them. They have an owner hook in them. And there's two versions. There's the junior and a standard. The biggest thing is the hook. So it's just a bigger hook in the standard size. Got the same style of head, but again, very light and definitely different. They also come in a lot of crazy colors. These were kind of some of the more shad imitating colors that I had. But you got kind of a pink shad right here. You also got this. It's kind of it looks more like a spinnerbait skirt, that chartreuse and white. And really this is kind of a mix between the action that you get from a swim jig, a spinnerbait, a vibrating jig, chatterbait. It's kind of in between all those, so you can still cover water, but it's a little bit more finesse than those really vibrating jigs, or flashy like a spinnerbait, or a swim jig where you typically have to reel it faster to keep it higher in the water column. So definitely has a place in my arsenal. Casts, once you get the hang of it, it's easy to cast around cover. It looks really good. It makes that swim bait really, really rock and roll. So I really did like fishing this thing. I will put a link to purchase this at Tackle Warehouse. It is an affiliate link, so you clicking on it, it's not going to change anything on your end, but it does help the channel. So please do that if you're interested in this jig. Check it out, and thanks for watching.